All right. Welcome in to the 13th episode of Consistently Inconsistent Sports. We are Colin over in Mount Pleasant in the 843. Michael Kinslow. How
Hello.
goes it, sir?
Dude, it's great. It's great. Hump day.
Well, it's been a little warm here. It's been a little warm here.
Dude, it's 75 degrees today.
It was hot. I wore shorts.
Dude, my cousin sent me a Snapchat from Minnesota. It was still 14 degrees. I was like, ooh.
My dad started this weird group chat between me, my grandpa, my uncle, and my dad. And it was just weird. It sends this one text randomly. Everybody okay? I was like, is something wrong that we should be?
Yeah, like don't hit me with that.
Layton's here too.
Hey guys.
Layton's like, oh, thanks, man.
It's also like 75 over here too. Or down here.
Like very near my dad. So yeah. I imagine it's the same. I imagine he's trying to take the boat out like every Sunday. He goes to Biloxi a lot, dude. You should hit him up if you want to go out on the boat. They have a good time.
Ooh.
And remember, you saw him at that.
I have his card.
Oh yeah, you do have his card. I remember.
Yeah.
I don't have Colin's dad's card. I have his grandparents' card though.
Yeah, my grandparents loved them some Michael Decay Kenslow. Let me tell you what.
Michael Decay, man.
Yeah.
Michael the B doesn't have anything on me.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it. And what had happened was this week, Layton, why is Crockett Gilmore, the Ravens tight end, switching to offensive line? I'm confused.
Honestly, I haven't a clue. He's also a free agent, so he's not even on the Ravens right now. He hasn't played in really like a year and a half now.
Did he? I always imagine situations when I hear something that happens. I have a weird mind, guys, and then go straight to like imagining exactly how these things occur. And I imagine like Crockett like walks past the draft room and Ozzy's sitting there and he's like, "This Hayden Hurst fella, he's pretty good," and he hears it and he's like, I'm done. I just didn't do enough last year. I'm a scrub. I gotta switch. And all this talk about people switching positions, I feel like it comes up every year. Like there's at least one. If there's like an off-season bingo card,
right?
This might be the first time it's been
which
somebody
position
still in the league.
Yeah, right. Which position will be switched?
It's usually that. It's usually the quarterback to wide receiver, like Denard Robinson, or now this season it's Lamar Jackson too.
But this has to be a pretty like exceptional one, right? Like Crockett Gilmore's been in the league for 4 or 5 years now as a tight end, and now he's bulked up 40 plus pounds. He's over 300 now.
That's a big boy.
Yeah.
It's a big man.
Like he was always a big tight end, but like,
that's pretty awesome, actually. That's pretty impressive. I didn't know that he was beefing up like that.
Oh yeah, like he's 6'6", 305.
I feel like are you checking his Instagram a bunch, or
No, like I haven't seen pics, so pics didn't happen. But
right.
we need the pics to know he's thick. Like,
but as soon as I heard this news, I decided to do a little digging in about it, and apparently Crockett was interviewed a couple of years ago after he got hurt, and just kind of talking about his future and where he saw, I guess, the tight end position, and he basically said like he didn't care about playing tight end. He didn't care about playing offense. He said, I probably belong in the trenches. He said he belonged in the trenches. And he said
was that more so than not this year. He was not the guy that we lined out in like the Gronk or the Evan Ingram role this season. He was more in that because we were running the ball more this season with Alex Collins and Buck, at least trying to get Buck involved. And trying to get the ground game being this focal point. He was that blocker more so this season.
But we never got a chance to see him because, he tore his ACL in like week 1 at camp. Right.
So you can imagine that offseason when they bring in Danny Woodhead and you're like, all right, so I'm just going to be blocking for this guy in screens out there. I imagine he's like, right, maybe he just got really good at it. That's something that happens. He could have just gotten really good at it, which
it's interesting though, because in that same
1 year,
in that same interview, he said he wanted to play defense. He said he had the mentality of a defensive guy and that he just wants to go out and hit people. So I guess coaches convinced him to like hit people on offense. And,
I mean, you can do that. You can be a solid run blocker and still hit people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the scene in The Blind Side where he finally realizes his true potential and drives the guy over the fence and said he needed to go home.
You know what I'm curious about? I wonder if Ozzy kind of said like, hey, you know, Crockett, we're kind of loaded at tight end, not necessarily talent-wise, but in terms of like cap and money-wise, and probably told him up front that they're looking to add tight ends free agency or the draft. And he was like, dude, you're a free agent. Like, we're not going to shell out too much money for you. How about you just switch to O-line? You'll have a better chance of making the team, and you can help us on the cap because we won't have to pay you that much because you're unproven.
Right.
Just kind of what if.
Well, another story that kind of caught my eye today, which was pretty funny. Klay Thompson admitted that when he was first drafted by the now two-time champion Golden State Warriors, that he did not know where the Dubs played. Can't say I didn't know either before I started going out there when my mom moved out.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you just hear Golden State Warriors, does that really tip you off that it's going to be San Fran?
But it's not even in San Francisco.
It's technically Oakland, but yeah, I mean, that's why it wouldn't make sense anyway.
Right. Even more so to prove your point.
Because, you know, you're like, the only thing that would lead you there would be the Golden Gate Bridge.
Right.
And
they are
technically there.
They are in the process of building a new stadium in San Francisco that has upset some people in the Oakland area. I was particularly a fan of the Oakland sports radio. They were very quality out there.
And, you know, when Klay got drafted, I had no idea where Golden State was either. You know, you look at their like jerseys from the early 2000s and it's like that actual like Warrior and like the art, like you have no idea where. You just know it's California because like Golden State, so you're like, okay, California.
It almost looks like that old Piston jersey. Like, you remember that old Pistons jersey that had like the dude
with the horse
shooting? Yeah. It almost reminded me of that. That it was like an actual thing happening on.
Was the Warrior holding like a spear or something?
Yeah, it was like a spear. Yeah, he was almost like jousting almost. He seemed like somebody who was like in A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger.
Man, back in the old Baron Davis, Gilbert Arenas days for the Warriors.
Oh my God, never forget. I've gone back and watched a lot of those tapes, and I mean, who was the one that got away though? It was who was the shooting guard? Name is totally escaping me.
Oh, I would have thought you would be talking about Gilbert because they traded him after 2 years.
I'm talking about Monta Ellis.
Rest in peace, Monta Ellis, man. He just fell off the face of the planet.
No, I think he still plays. He's in there somewhere.
Does he?
Yes,
I thought he got bought out by the
He's a fine 2K pickup, you know, like after, you know, when you need to fill that last roster spot, you're like, who can I count on for that corner three in the third quarter? Monta Ellis.
Yo, that's funny because speaking of that, I just started my player career.
Oh, I know, dude. My Xbox is the center of my house. Like everything runs out of it. We don't have cable out here, so the Xbox is always on, and I see that you're on there playing whatever you're playing all the time. Because I check to see if Hunter's on to play Fortnite.
Speaking of which, I'm downloading Fortnite right now, and I think I have gold, so we'll see. No, but in my player career, I got like the tryout, and I picked the Wizards as my favorite team, obviously. And they have most of the players who are like, you know, role players for the Wizards, and then randomly Monta Ellis is there, like playing tryout for the Wizards.
That's killer. Well, we'll have to hop on that. I don't have 2K18 right now because I had it during the free weekend. I have 2K17.
Oh,
but
dude.
Once I have at work right now, we're about to do inventory, so I can't even check out a game. But
get Madden too. We got to do an online dynasty.
I have Madden. I'm okay.
18 is wild, dude.
I'll figure it out. I'll think about it.
Dude,
I'll think of it.
so Colin, I was just looking up Warriors just on their wiki page, just to see like the history of the Warriors before that. They actually won 2 championships in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Oh,
They were the Philadelphia Warriors.
Yeah, Philadelphia Warriors. Then they won another championship in San Francisco.
In 78?
75, it
75.
says.
so
And then
they never won one with Bill Walton.
Do not
Was he
believe so.
Portland? Where?
Yes. He was Portland. And then Wilt was with the Warriors for a little bit.
they weren't even known as the Golden State Warriors
They were the
until
San Francisco.
71.
Right. Yeah. There was San Francisco. Then we have the there's a retro jersey you can get that's got San Francisco over the top.
Oh, yeah.
But I would imagine that it would. I think they're going to keep the Golden State name. I would hope that they wouldn't change it to San Francisco because that kind of just alienates. If you know anything about the Bay, it would just kind of alienate the population because there's clearly an Oakland A's distinction and a San Francisco Giants fan distinction, and there's clearly an Oakland Raiders and a San Francisco 49ers distinction. So I don't think you want to split up the fan bases for the Warriors just because the whole Bay it encompasses San Jose and and Oakland and Berkeley. And everywhere else. And
that's actually the most recent paragraph on the wiki is the current move from Oakland back to San Francisco.
Yeah,
is the most recent thing on the wiki.
If you guys ever, and if anybody out there is interested in things like that, the arena that they're proposing to build is absolutely gorgeous. It kind of looks like a toilet bowl, but with a big opening where you're gonna be able to walk around the outside, the second layer, and be able to see into the game. So. Maybe a good place for the famous hot dog stands that you see in outside Bay Area sporting events, offering you half price of the already $3 hot dog after the game. I got that after the Gold Cup. I went with Guyane and her brother Auden, and we got the bacon wrapped hot dogs for like $1 and a beer for like it was like $2-3 for 2 hot dogs and a beer. And I was like, I think we won. It was like, this is amazing. Let's do this. Okay. Moving on. Alshon, shout out to the Cox. Played through the season with a torn rotator cuff. My man.
Baller, man.
Your whole job is to do this. Constantly moving your rotator cuff, and he's like, "Nah, guys, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. I got this."
He's a bad man.
He is. Beat Alabama.
Well,
bad man.
Do we know when this actually happened? Because it could have happened in the Super Bowl. Because he was pretty quiet after that touchdown.
No, it says they. I thought it said he tore it like before the season started.
Let's see.
That would be insane.
Yeah, but and you imagine you never really give it time to heal except like a bye week. But I remember this because I remember listening to the Fantasy Focus podcast with Matthew Berryfield Yates and the Stefania Bell, who is an awesome injury source. She knows a lot about injuries, and she's always had Alshon Jeffrey was always on the injury report for last year, and it was always a good thing when he wasn't on it this year. But there were some weeks where he was on it. So it might have been something that he was dealing with, but he was playing through the pain.
Yeah, it says so from CBS. It says that he tore it in training camp.
Dang. It still just kept playing, though. Could you imagine if I tore my rotator cuff, dude? I couldn't lift a drink. I have to use a straw.
Dude, so he still had, like, essentially 60 grabs, 800 yards, 9 touchdowns.
With a torn rotator cuff.
Not to mention 3 touchdowns in the playoffs. Like, imagine what this dude would have done fully healthy with Carson Wentz fully healthy.
Maybe he should get Tommy John surgery and try out for a quarterback. Come back and just slap.
Oh, I thought you were going to say pitcher.
Or pitcher. Yeah, for the Phillies. Bring it back. I don't like the Phillies, but bring it back. I like it. Let's see. And then this week's episode of Consistently Inconsistent Sports is brought to you by Aspiring Food Snob food blog by my favorite person in the world, my girlfriend Guyane, where she writes these awesome blog posts about food that she either makes or food that we go out to eat. Like last post she did it from our Valentine's Day dinner where we went down to Amen on East Bay Street and had some bomb oysters, had some good grits, had some fried flounder, had some fried shrimp, had some fried oysters, had just some regular oysters. Happy hour, it was like $9 for a dozen oysters. And we were like, wow, that's a deal. And then like it was like $3.50 or like $5 well drink, something like that during happy hours. We were like,
I'm taking a look at these raw oysters on the half shell right now, and safe to say my mouth's watering.
Yeah,
I wish I was there.
Yeah, they were really good. And then we also went down to a place that Michael and I went to a bunch, to Booley's.
There we go.
You know, explored, did the Charleston thing, walked around a little bit, and
dude, that biscuit down there looks really good too.
Oh yeah, and it's but we will also post a link to this in the description down below. So if you would like to check this out, you should give it a look. And that is Aspiring Food Snob West to Eats, because she moved. Get it?
It's punny. It's good. It's good.
It's the perfect amount of punniness to where it's not like my stepdad punniness, but it's just the right amount of fun. I appreciate it. Well, moving on. So there's been some scandals in the world. Louisville just got, not the death penalty, which some people were calling for between this and the Adidas scandal, which probably still has more to come.
Just wait on that one.
Yeah. Which is the real,
we're going to forget about that one, and like 2 years from now, it's just going to blow up.
Apparently it's coming during March Madness this year.
Oh, really?
Right.
They're going to drop it then?
That's what I heard.
It's getting super dramatic.
So they're stripped of their title from 2013, and they lose all wins from 2011 to 2015. So, Leighton, the first thing you said was, this means nothing. They still won. We all know they still won. This is just for, like, a website and record's sake. Who, like, in 200 years, are we really going to care who won in 2013?
But, like, who cares now? Like, if I'm Louisville, keep that banner up.
Fuck Donovan Mitchell goes out and wears the shoes.
Like,
He's posted like I'm going to wear the shoes, the Louisville ones.
Like, I'm with Leighton on this one. It's like, do I agree that they should have had a penalty? Like, yeah, sure, give them a penalty of some sort, but, like, what they didn't affect the actual performance of the team itself. Like, that team still won that championship, So that's how I look at it. So it's like you can't discredit those players for what they accomplished,
correct,
regardless of what happened behind the scenes, because it didn't affect their performance on the court.
Well, you got to think that. The unfortunate part is that I hear that Patino's got a nice little tattoo of that national championship on his back.
That's the best part, dude. He's gonna go to the beach, get a photo shoot done, man.
It's like, check out my 2013 title, baby.
He can't pull this banner down.
That's what Louisville should do. Just hang a picture of his back up on the rafters.
Back in the rafters.
Never forget.
Yeah, it kind of just is what it is. The real story is going to come because this doesn't affect this team right now, but because of this is just prior and all they can do. It's like they didn't get Michigan like a ban from postseason when the Chris Webber stuff happened. But
they did. I'm pretty sure they vacated their Final Four appearance.
No. I'm saying that they didn't stop that team. Even though I don't think they were a good team, I don't think they stopped them from going to the tournament that season that it was announced.
Gotcha.
I'm saying that because like this Louisville team, even though they're getting their butts whooped by Duke right now, 68-43. Woo!
I was about to say this Louisville team is going to be 18-9, or 18-10. Like, do we really care about?
No, but that's what I'm saying. At least
are they really going to make the tournament?
They might. You never know. South Carolina's turning it around though, boys. Hey.
It doesn't matter.
Wins
we're gonna be the best team in the NIT.
Yeah, they only have to win the SEC tournament to make it in.
Yeah.
Like no big deal.
No big deal. Okay, moving on to the real scandal. So I kind of just like wrote this all out, so I'm just gonna kind of like read what I wrote. So Sports Illustrated reported that former CEO, this guy Ussery, was accused multiple times of sexually harassing female employees, and had many reports put against him. And turned out that most of the time the HR person said, toughen up. There's nothing we can really do about it. So then there was another guy who was a beat writer for the team who was just fired 2 days ago. And he had 2 instances where the first instance, he was dating a female coworker and she came to work with a bruised face and then had a sit down with Mark Cuban, where he had to sign a document saying that he would not have one-on-ones with female coworkers. And then it happened again. And then the police got involved. And that was just within the last couple of years. But so this also meant that this guy's a beat writer for the team. So that means that you have to be able to fly to certain places, and sexual abusers are not allowed to travel to Canada. Where being an NBA beat writer, you need to be able to travel. And this was 2 years ago that he got deemed a sexual abuser. And he couldn't travel, but they still kept him on as the beat writer. And then the crazy part was they just like let this dude like go to work and work with a bunch of women and say, this guy's allowed to hit any of you and still work here. And they still let him work there. And Mark Cuban who met with him when it first happened, never read the police report until Tuesday before this Sports Illustrated article even came out. Thoughts, things, anything? This kind of.
I mean, it just seems like it's another situation where a dude who has a higher position than most in the company do something, and then there's nothing that can be done. Big air quotes on that. Was it brought directly to Mark Cuban's attention? Like directly?
Sure, multiple times, because then he left to take Ussery left to take a job, a similar position at Under Armour, and he was fired within 2 weeks for sexually harassing a coworker in the elevator.
So yeah, it's like maybe it should have been more publicized that Mark Cuban did something about this, or at least was trying to do something about it.
Well, he didn't fire him because of that, though. That guy just took another job at Under Armour.
Yeah, I'm saying like what could have been done.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So do we blame Mark Cuban? Do we blame the system itself? I don't know, but it just seems like another one of those.
The second one, I would, because he took ownership of the second one. The guy who hit 2 women who were females there, coworkers at in the office, and there was another woman who said, I loved when I was interacting with the players because they knew how to be cordial with people and they were well-rounded people. But when you went into the offices upstairs, she said it was like living in the Animal House from National Lampoon's Animal House. It's like it didn't matter whatever room you were in. Don't get in an elevator with this guy. And if Mark Cuban's going to do, I mean, he just got fined $600,000 for saying something about tanking. I mean, the NBA, they hired an investigator to come in. It's like a guy from New York or something like that, I heard. So there'll be an independent investigation. So there'll probably be more findings. And we'll see what the NBA does with this situation. Because seeing how the NFL has handled their situations like this, I don't think there's any way that Mark Cuban, who, if he says he's as connected as he is, and says that he is as big as he understands everything, even has brought up running for president or discussing politics in a big manner, you would think he would see how the NFL has handled or mishandled its cases over the years of things like this, and this guy willingly knew that this guy did this, took him at his word on what his account of the event was, believed him, and then it happened again. So it's kind of like, dude, I just don't know. I don't know where like what should happen because of it. Do they lose draft picks? I don't know.
That's what it's looking like.
Only...
I mean, that's the precedent, I guess.
But I mean, like, Donald Sterling lost his team for dropping an N-bomb.
Like, an article says, but he, like, it was a lot to get.
But that was kind of almost the same situation.
He was like super pushed out. Like, it took a while for that to actually happen, and he,
right.
I mean, he basically called
but
Magic
what if
Johnson.
This investigation comes out and it's
an N-word to his face, almost like,
essentially.
But
I mean, what if it comes out that this whole place is filled with like negligence, all dating back? Because this guy had been there for over almost 30 years. So
I guess it really depends on.
Like,
it really depends on how involved Mark Cuban really is or really was, because like I was saying earlier, you know, the majority of owners really aren't in the office very often. They're doing their other business ventures. Owning a sports team is really kind of like the fun, like, hobby that they got going on. They'll just check in once in a while, like, hey, how's everything going?
So he bought majority stake January 4th, 2000. So he's been there for 18 years. I'm seeing how long this guy...
Because if that guy was also in place before Mark Cuban got there, then...
yes. So he was named president... Oh, wow. He was named president of Nike Sports Management. That's crazy.
When?
He was also president and CE. He was commissioner of the Continental Basketball Association, and then he was only CEO of the Mavericks 3 years before Cuban got there. So he was there in 97. Which means that this was all kind of developing while Cuban was there. And if he invested 3 years into this guy being there, there must have been something about him that was pretty trustworthy. Like, you can be a good business guy, but you can also just be a piece of shit, too.
Oh, yeah.
Pieces of shit got to go. But, I mean, we'll see what happens with this investigation, so there'll probably be more on that to talk about. But on to something more fun. Had an idea. The 2012 NFL Draft is something of a confusing, pondering, strange thing in the world of sports. It involves fallen stars and draft pick trades that boggle your mind and have made teams rise to greatness because of these trades, and teams just be blatantly average and irrelevant. I'm looking at the team from Washington whose name I refuse to say. Bleacher Report style. And then you look at that, and we'll just talk about that. We'll start there, because this whole draft doesn't play out the way it does without the Rams acquiring like 6 or 7 picks from the Redskins for the number 2 pick.
It was a big trade. It was monumental.
And Michael, you'll appreciate this. I was on the All-State band trip my senior year, and guess who was laying there next to me in the 4-person bedroom with 2 beds?
Must have been some curly Jufro kid named Ryan Oxendine.
It was Ryan Oxendine, and we were both looking at each other like, this is ridiculous. This is going to be these. I said it was stupid. I loved RG3, but I still thought it was stupid.
The amount they gave up was absurd for RG3. Like, I like RG3 too, but the amount they gave up was so much.
Kind of crazy that the Rams really only hit on a few of those draft picks when all was said and done, though.
Leighton, think about who their head coach was.
Norris Jenkins, Alec Ogletree, Greg Robinson.
Yeah.
But think about who their coach was.
The best
Yeah,
GM
right?
in NFL history, Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, dude. Best 8-8 talent developer of all time.
Best keep your job and get away with it.
But boy, does he have an eye for talent. I mean, his 3 QBs were in the
Jesus,
playoffs
he
this
looks
year.
like a high school government. He looks like he could have been our government teacher, Michael, and gotten away with it and been a high school coach.
But the thing that he was getting away with would have been like sexual harassment or like child
Also,
pornography.
that's probably
No one questions him because he's got that stern look in the mustache.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He almost looks like. You know what? I would love to see Danny McBride play a fake version of Jeff Fisher and just be the most average coach ever and gets away with it. And it's like a new combination of Entourage and Ballers meets Eastbound and Down.
That would be
I just
amazing.
I think I just pitched the greatest show ever. Not gonna lie. Okay.
Coach, it's 3rd and 3. What do you want us to do? Who fucking cares? Just run it. Just run it.
Coach, we have no timeouts left. It's 4th down. We're on
Timeout!
our 49-yard line. Run the ball. What do you mean run the ball? Take a knee for all I care. Cool. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. There's 12 picks here because clearly this draft didn't work out. So this draft, Andrew Luck goes first. Robert Griffin III goes second. Trent Richardson goes third. And none of those dudes are playing in the NFL right now. Andrew Luck because of injury, RG3 because of relevance, and Trent Richardson because he's a bum.
Because he's a bum.
Because he's just a bum. There's no other word for him. He is just a bum. So, with that being said, guys, I'm a nice guy. I am going to pick a number between 1 to 12, and the closest of you to get to it will go first. The other will go second. I will go third, and we'll trade off, and we'll go to 12 picks. So we all get 4 picks. So, all right, I got my number. Leighton, what'd you pick?
I'm going 3.
Michael.
8.
Well, my number was 7, so Michael will go first. Leighton and myself. All
right. Oh boy, this is big. This is crazy. So with the first overall pick in the 2012 draft, the Indianapolis Colts still select Andrew Luck.
Oh!
Boo!
Boo!
We need the Jets fans in here, man. Boo.
This is a Bleacher Report article now. This is totally just a Bleacher Report article. Thought we were going to do something crazy, and they put Andrew Luck on the cover of the article. So you're like, oh, God, what happened to Andrew Luck? Psych.
Same thing.
What's that? That's the sound of all the Colts fans throwing tomatoes harder than Andrew Luck can throw a football.
Right. I'm going to say, if you look at so this was 2012. This is 6 years ago. He was the only thing that kept the Colts relevant for those 5 years. And if he comes back even like a shell of that, the Colts will be fine.
Yeah. I mean, he's that Chiefs game away from
Yeah. If they did not implode, they beat the Chiefs in that crazy game. And then after that went on to lose to somebody. I can't remember, probably the Pats or somebody, but
definitely the Patriots.
But I mean, he's the only person on that team that really makes it work. I mean, we saw how bad they were this year without him in there. So I stand by my pick at number 1.
I appreciate your honesty, my friend. Leighton.
With the second overall pick of the 2012 NFL Draft, the Washington select quarterback Russell Wilson from Wisconsin/NC State.
There it is. Pulls him in.
Awesome. Great call. State your reasoning, my friend.
Even though I don't really like Russell Wilson as a person, he's a damn good quarterback. And
he's still mad.
Hell of a lot better than RG3.
Still mad he stole Sierra from Future?
No, I just feel I think he's fake. I think he's a super fake dude. But
Okay. That is. Yeah.
But he's dangerous.
Yeah, he's dangerous. That is true. Okay. So this is where this kind of gets weird, and I might just be picking because they're here and it's the team, and you look at need at the time. They're still kind of messing with the Brandon Whedon experiment at this point. So I guess do you just go best player available? Because top of my draft board is Fletcher Cox. I feel like Fletcher Cox is just an animal. It just eats all the time. So actually, yeah, with third pick in the 2012 NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns select Fletcher Cox out of Mississippi State, I believe.
Wait, Brandon Whedon was selected in this draft.
Okay, then screw that.
Hey.
They are taking Nick Foles.
Ooh. Sorry, Eagles, you just lost the Super Bowl.
Boom, done, over. wait, no, this can't happen, Colin. You can't let the Patriots dynasty continue.
Wait, but then who would have beaten who did the Eagles play? It would have been the Vikings. And who did the Eagles? It might have been the Saints or the Vikings. And I think either of those teams could have also beaten the.
Or even the Falcons. Like, the Falcons could have been
definitely
there. A rematch.
The AFC this year was like the East in the NBA every year. There wasn't too much of like it would have been if Kareem Hunt didn't just decide to stop playing football in week 8.
Well, actually, it was more Andy Reid stopped giving the ball to Kareem Hunt.
Okay, well, more like that.
But okay, so give me your reasoning for your man.
Well, I mean, he just won the MVP.
He won the MVP, but he also has many seasons in the NFL where he was downright average or below average.
And I imagine that the Browns wouldn't have done much with that. But it's still, he's a talent, and you got to get him there. And if you still get Josh Gordon, it's Nick Foles throwing to Josh Gordon. So I like the sound of that.
All right. So here we go. With the fourth,
maybe you pick up T.Y. Hilton. You never know.
With the fourth pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings continue to select Matt Khalil to shore up that O-line that is so devastatingly good right now.
But he's no longer there.
I mean, but they still have one of the most devastating O-lines. Yeah. And, seeing him play so well could have also say, hey, let's shore this up. And at the time, I don't even know who their quarterback was at the time, but, you take best on the board. And for me, the best on the board right now is on this draft is Matt Khalil, Fletcher Cox, and Luke Kuechly.
Right.
Those would have been the three choices I had right there in my mind. So I went with the O-line to shore that up.
All right, Layden.
This is tough. Like, do you go with Jacksonville's thought process behind this draft, which was at this point they were trying to stack like offensive talent? Well, really, they were just trying to stack talent. Or do you go best player?
Go to the SEC. Either way. I think either of these two picks could be SEC boys.
I think
one by air and one by ground.
I think with the based on what Jacksonville was trying to do at this point, the number 5 pick of the 2012 draft is wide receiver, Alshon Jeffrey, South Carolina.
I like it.
I as well like it. So then this is 2012. So we still got Tony Romo.
Dude, what if Tony Romo went number 6 instead of number 5? Or what if Alshon?
But with the 6th pick in the 2012 NFL draft, Wait.
Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys. They definitely select. I had the totally wrong person. I am totally at a loss right now. Give me 1 second. I thought Melvin Ingram, was Mark Ingram. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if Mark Ingram played with Dez and Tony Romo? But that is definitely not Mark Ingram. So then I switch up my pick, and they grab Dontarie Poe to get somebody to just scare everybody.
He's a big man.
Yeah, he's massive.
Jesus. So Dontarie Poe over Fletcher Cox.
Oh, wait, Fletcher Cox is still there?
Yeah.
Screw that, Fletcher Cox.
Okay, that's fair. I was going to say, I was going to be with Leighton on that one. Like, you just gave me my next pick for free, man.
Yeah. And now imagine your team anyways. So I assume you're taking Dontarie Poe.
I was looking at two people specifically. The 2012 Tampa Bay Bucks went 4-12 in the previous season. This is when Raheem Morris, who was the coach, was fired. Greg Schiano had become the coach and ended the season 7-9. Ooh, it says that year, man. It's that year.
Ooh.
But so 7-9, you're looking to probably shore up offense and defense. So yeah, I'm gonna actually take. I personally like Dontarie Poe, but Luke Kuechly is just such a good middle linebacker.
Yeah, he's a little too good not to take.
I'm gonna say with the 7th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Luke Kuechly, linebacker, Boston College.
Good pick there. Good pick. Imagine him with Levante David. That would be a pretty nasty duo in the middle.
Who's their D lineman right now? Gerald McCoy.
Gerald McCoy. Have him there, or Poe and McCoy on the same line would have been disgusting too.
Yeah, he's a little too good. All right, Leighton. The Dolphins have the 8th pick here. They originally went with Ryan Tannehill.
And I was just going to say, I'm curious that Nick Foles was taken ahead of Ryan Tannehill, but this is a whole new world.
Yeah. If it was actually 2012 and we did this, I would have been Nick Foles in front of Ryan Tannehill. Are we basing this off of quarterbacks' wives? Because then Ryan Tannehill is the number one pick. But
well, I mean, you got to look at this team and say, well, what's important? Because can they just stock up talent and grab somebody? So let's see. Hold on. Leighton, talk about your thought process for a second. If you're the Dolphins.
Well, I am still taking a quarterback here with my Miami Dolphins pick.
Who was their quarterback? Matt Moore?
I think it was Chad Henne, potentially
Matt Moore. Yeah.
Might have been Pat White a little bit there out of West Virginia. But regardless, they needed serious help at the quarterback. And here, with the number 8 pick, they are getting their guy, their boy. Hopefully they do better than what a different team has done with him in real life, because they are selecting quarterback out of Michigan State University, Kirko Bangs Cousins.
Oof, I like it.
I agree with that.
That's a good pick. I like that.
So my before I kind of cut out there and threw you in, I had a kind of thought process what the Dolphins kind of could be thinking, well, what if if they don't like Tannehill? And I still believe the only reason that they picked up Tannehill was because the offensive coordinator that got hired, or the quarterback's coach, was the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M, or the head coach was, where Tannehill played. And he was like, I see the potential in this kid, because he's the one that told him to switch from wide receiver, because Tannehill had only played quarterback for 1 year before he got drafted, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, isn't that a case with one of the kids coming out this year too?
No, it's the opposite. Lamar Jackson, they want him to switch.
Well, I thought it was a Josh Rosen or somebody wasn't a quarterback until last year.
No, Josh Rosen's always been a quarterback.
Who was it then that just...
Oh.
It might have actually been Paxton that had just started playing quarterback.
Yes, it was.
I think it was Paxton.
Let's see. Bill Polian, blah, blah, blah. All this is still about Lamar Jackson. Maybe Braxton Miller.
Possibly Braxton.
Yeah, and Terrell Pryor was one too.
Well, both Braxton and Terrell were high school star quarterbacks who were 5-star recruits to play quarterback.
So I think the Panthers still kind of win in this situation because they're really choosing, like, I say, like, if you're going to let Josh Norman go, I say, like, right now, I want Melvin Ingram. I'm keeping him in the Carolinas. So with the 9th pick in the 2012 NFL draft, the Carolina Panthers select Melvin Ingram at the University of South Carolina.
I almost want to do this entire first round because there's so much talent in here. This is fun.
We can be here all night.
Right.
We can do the rest of it next week if you want. We can do like combine. I don't know where that just came from. A combine, because the combine starts on Tuesday. So after we can move the show to like Thursday if y'all want. After they finish all the 40s and stuff, we can check the schedule for it, see what happens. Be on the lookout. But yeah, Melvin Ingram. I mean, the dude's just killing it right now for the Chargers after he came back from that injury last year.
Yep.
He's on top of his game.
He was on top this year.
Wasn't he, Michael? How many
good.
sacks did he have this year?
A lot.
Did a lot of them come from the Broncos?
Yeah. Between him and Joey Bosa, it was kind of disgusting.
Yeah. I imagine that is like, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
The combination of those two is just too good. But that brings up, let's see,
the last pick in today's.
Well, no, we're
on to 12.
3 more.
Oh, we're going to 12. Okay. Well, with the first pick in the last round of today's draft, number 10, the Buffalo Bills. All right. The Buffalo Bills. Ooh, the Buffalo Bills.
I think you know what you should do here, but I don't think you're going to do it.
Dude, the Buffalo Bills with the 10th pick select Stephon Gilmore, cornerback out of South Carolina. They keep the pick. I mean, the dude is still playing at a high level. I mean, he's been to the Super Bowl. I think he's good enough.
Pick Josh Norman.
Dude, I was thinking about it, but I was like, Jano, where has he been the last 2 seasons? Really?
Well, on a bad team that can't score. Well, they could score, actually. They were getting scored on. That wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
But
so,
he was usually good.
I think, just Stephon has just been consistent between the Bills and then going to the Patriots. So he's been consistent. And, I mean, he went to a Super Bowl. He's been Pro Bowler a few years. Solid DB pickup.
Yeah, and you got to look at that and just agree that the only other pickup I think the Bills might have been able to make, maybe Harrison Smith, the Viking safety.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been mad.
The thing, I was scrolling down here looking at possibly Bobby Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to reach too far for him.
Okay. So, Leighton, that brings you to, with the 11th pick, the 3rd pick in the 4th round of our little weird draft, to the Kansas City Chiefs.
So Kansas City initially took Dontari Poe.
Right. Who's still available?
He's still available.
I'm looking at my big board, and I have Chandler Jones as the best available guy here. However, you look at Kansas City's roster at this point, they have Tamba Ali in his prime. They have a young, up-and-coming Justin Houston. So that kind of takes Chandler Jones out of the equation. Then you look at maybe Bobby Wagner. But Kansas City has Derek Johnson, who at this point, even today, he's still a beast. But at this point, he was probably the best middle linebacker in the game, aside from maybe an aging Ray Lewis, something like that.
Right.
So, where's Kansas City going to go? There's a lot of talent still on the board. A lot of Pro Bowlers still on the board.
There are a lot of Pro Bowlers in this draft. Too good.
You look at that Kansas City Chiefs secondary, and at this point, they have Eric Berry.
Right.
But they're kind of unproven otherwise. They don't have
Marcus Peters yet.
They don't have Marcus Peters. I don't think they even have Brandon Flowers at this point. They might, but I don't think they do.
They do not. He was drafted in 2014, I think.
So they take cornerback out of Coastal Carolina, Josh Norman.
There he is, Jano.
I like that. I was gonna take him with the Cardinals and pair him up with all the boys, and just really start and make it even crazier over there in Arizona, which would have been fun. So
here you go, Super Bowl champions.
So quick recap: Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck; Redskins, Russell Wilson; Browns, Nick Foles. 3 quarterbacks taken in a row. We all took our quarterbacks. 2 of those guys have Super Bowl MVPs under their belt, and one of them, I had to figure out which finger to put up, that was still taking number 1,
is throwing medicine balls.
Is throwing medicine. Which of these quarterbacks is A, dating Sierra, and B, playing with weighted balls? Okay. And then with the 4th pick, Matt Khalil. 5th pick, Alshon Jeffrey. Go Gamecocks. With the 6th pick, the Cowboys took Fletcher Cox. With the 7th pick, the Bucks took Luke Kuechly. The Dolphins took Kirk Cousins. The Panthers took Melvin Ingram. Go Cox again. The Bills, Stephon Gilmore. Go Cox again. Chiefs, Josh Norman. Go state of South Carolina in general.
This is a great draft for South Carolina.
This is a really good draft, guys. This was really good. Like, these are all exceptional players considering where most of them were drafted. Like Russell Wilson, 3rd round. Nick Foles, 3rd round. Kirk
Alshon was 2nd or 3rd.
Alshon was early 2nd.
Yeah, early 2nd for Alshon. Josh Norman, 5th round. So, I mean, it comes down to, I think, just one guy, I guess, for the Cardinals. I imagine Honey Badger and Harrison Smith just destroying people. It's like Honey Badger, Honey Badger, Honey Badger. Wait, no, Harrison Smith. They're just like, what was that called? Table-topping kids in the playground?
You're picking for the Eagles, though.
That was the Cardinals.
Nope.
Oh, it's the Eagles. Even more so. I like the Eagles with him. Because that's what that dream team thing, and he would have fit in perfectly with that team. Just been like a sleeper that nobody knew was
Who did you take?
Harrison Smith. I like Harrison Smith. He's a really good underrated safety.
One of the best in the game.
Yeah, truly a top 5 safety, and not a lot of people know about him. That's a guy that's really snuck under the radar, probably solely because he's plays for the Vikings.
Dude,
until recent, haven't gotten that attention.
You see which team the Vikings got that pick from?
Let me scroll halfway across the bar. From the Seattle.
Yeah,
Seahawks.
We traded down to select Courtney Upshaw.
Well, no, I said the Vikings got that pick from when he actually was drafted. Baltimore traded Minnesota at 29 in the actual draft column.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We traded down to go into the 2nd to get an extra pick, and we took Courtney Upshaw.
Who's gone?
He did win a Super Bowl, though. He was a starter on the Super Bowl team.
Did win a Super Bowl. Can't really hate on that.
Now he's a defensive tackle for Atlanta. How weird is that? He played outside linebacker for us.
He's a big dude, so he was
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So if we really want to, we can finish this thing out next week. But other than that, guys, that was a fun show.
Should we do another round then to make it an even 16?
Yeah, let's do. Yeah. Well,
right.
So we'll have to. Yeah, let's do that.
So, all right. So one more round, then I get the Arizona Cardinals, who in this draft took Michael Floyd at number 13. So based on that and what I remember from that team, you know, if they're picking offense this early, I might need to be going for some offense. And with Alshon Jeffrey already off the table,
Got to think about somebody.
I'm thinking about somebody speedy. I'm thinking about somebody who's quick.
I'm thinking about somebody who likes to get under defenders and break out.
I'm thinking about somebody who would pair well with my first overall pick.
Maybe somebody that likes rye bread, or at least maybe sounds like rye bread.
Yeah, dude. Possibly.
I think I know who you're going with.
I think with the 13th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select wide receiver out of Florida International University, T.Y. Hilton.
There you go. There it is.
There it
Already
is.
wrote it in. Don't even have to ask.
All right.
Layton. So coming up next for you,
Who
Rams.
that dude got picked in the end of the third.
St. Louis Rams.
Remember, Jeff Fisher's your coach again.
Jeff Fisher is my coach, my GM, essentially my owner. I am Jeff Fisher now. And initially, we took Michael Brockers here.
Oh, God. Who? Who is this?
I think he's the number 2 or 3 defensive tackle, still with the Rams, but, not great. Here, the Rams currently have a different player who was selected in the top 10 in this role currently, a guy by the name of Mark Barron, who was initially taken number 7 overall by Tampa Bay.
Janoris Jenkins was taken by them in the second round, and he's a Pro Bowler now. So It could be one of those instances where they're just like, well, should have taken him sooner.
Well, instead they get the best middle linebacker in the NFL because he stays healthy. They take Bobby Wagner out of Utah State.
That was my pick.
There it is. All of a sudden, the Seahawks aren't looking so good, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of sitting here like, well, shit. What do I do?
Now they might have RG3. They might have.
Oh my God! Right? Like, could you imagine that?
Wait, who was the big free agent quarterback they signed?
Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn.
He had
after he torched the Lions.
Yeah, one good game with Green Bay got him like a huge contract.
So that guy torches the Lions and gets a lot of money and then is barely ever heard from again. So I'm kind of rolling through this draft and I'm kind of running out of options. And
there's a lot of talent in the offensive line still available.
There is, and I think that might just have to be where they settle because I feel like David DeCastro is just a really solid guard for the Steelers. And as a Baltimore Ravens fan, that just sucks. But he's
you can change that. If you pick him here, you change that. He's never.
True, yeah,
you never have to deal with him. You never have to deal with him again.
We're taking David DeCastro, so there you go. No relation.
But he's just solid. He takes down every guy the Ravens throw at him. Like there's nothing we do not get to bend like we used to when I was a kid. Like when we were kids, Leighton, we were just thrashing. Just getting through, fighting, running the ball, getting the ball back, just keep running it with Jamal.
We also had way nastier guys. We had Ray. We had Bart. Yeah. We had Sissel in his prime.
Dare you say killers on defense?
Jarrett Johnson, one of the most underrated guys ever on our mid-2000s team.
For sure. Well, so this was fun. I really enjoyed this. We could do this for the NBA sometime, go old. That would be fun. But next week, we got the NFL Combine. We will probably do a show talking about 40 times if somebody does something crazy. I don't really know much, so I'm going to do a lot of research this week, getting prepped for that. Anything you guys are particularly looking forward to in sports? Women play Canada.
That's true.
The Women USA team play Canada right now, actually.
Dude, I'm just excited for when March 13th rolls around and Kirk Cousins becomes a Denver Bronco.
Yep. Well,
then I can finally stop worrying about the free agency period and my life will be good.
Well, I just can't wait till we finish up this mock draft next week because guess who's still on the board, guys? Brock Osweiler, RG3, and say it ain't so, Brandon Whedon is somehow still available.
Dude, Justin Tucker is still available.
Trent Richardson is on the board, boys.
The Savior's name.
And Donta Hightower. I mean, there's nothing wrong with these guys that just haven't made Pro Bowls yet. Like,
How's
they're not,
Dante Hightower not made a
awful.
Pro Bowl?
No, he has.
He has. I'm talking about like Whitney Merciless. Very good for the Houston Texans.
Michael Kendrick.
He just won a Super Bowl. He's still starting for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Janoris Jenkins is still on the board, cornerback for the Rams. Still
Akeem
a good
Hicks,
pick.
probably the Bears' best player.
Zach Brown, linebacker. Right now,
Led the NFL in
playing for the
tackles
Redskins.
last year.
He's from Beaufort, by the way. Zach Brown. And hey, Leighton, he went to high school in Columbia, Maryland, Wild Lake High School.
Saying
Kevin Johnson was in this?
Vinny Curry's still on the board.
No, this is Zach Brown.
Oh,
He's
yeah. That's
weirdly born.
That's why I
Weirdly
was
born
confused.
in Beaufort.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I thought I went to high school with Zach Brown. Like,
I think you did go to. Was that your high school?
no, but that was one of our rivals.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So
He was the fastest kid in our high school, like our county, and he played linebacker. He was
Levante David is still available. Kaleki Osemele is still available. Casey Hayward's still available.
Vinny Curry's still up, still starting DE for Eagles.
Mohamed Sanu. Well, we'll get to this next week.
Yeah, dude.
So
Brandon Brooks.
Lamar Miller, still a good running back, just hasn't had a Pro Bowl. Let's see.
Olivier Vernon.
More names. Things. The universe.
Well, that'll do it for this week's installment of Consistently Inconsistent Sports. Check out the Wake and Take show that Michael and I did on Monday. Little morning show action.
You'll find it somewhere down there if you click on
it'll
into the
pop up
podcast network.
Here, somewhere in this direction.
Like it. If you haven't subscribed, share this on your Facebook page. Tweet it out. Instagram it. I don't care. Tweet it. Text it. I already said tweet. Dodge, dug, dip, dive, and dodge. That'll do it. Leighton,
Fax it.
Spell the name. Fax it. Yeah.
That's
I'll have
too
fax it.
soon, Leighton. It's still too soon.
Wow.
You know the name, baby.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that happened in 2012 too. Like, didn't that happen that year?
Yes, it did.
Was that the
pretty sure.
Doomerville year?
That was the Doomerville year, dude.
Interesting enough, I sent the first fax of my entire life yesterday. So
Oh, how was
There we
that,
go.
sir?
it was awful. We're stuck in like 1987.
I had to do it when I worked at Palmetto Moon for like monogram orders, I think. And I had to like fax it. I was like, this is fun. This is not fun.
Like I was on a sales call with somebody and they were like, I tell you what, can you like fax this information over? It's like, what? Do you have a computer? I can email it to you.
Well, that'll do it, guys. Michael at Chunky Taco, Leighton at the name Leighton Markwood, me, Colin at the _C Morris. We will check you guys next week. Peace.
See you.
Deuces.